Get ready for some hard-hitting podcast action as you're tuned in to the Slam Session. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Slam Sessions. I'm Albert Albanese, your host with the most as usual, here on another episode of the Slam Sessions, another session of the Slam Sessions. Of course, as always, follow us on Twitter at the Slam Sessions. Follow us on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Slam Sessions Podcast Network. On this episode, let's face it, we're talking about WWE. There's only one thing to talk about: the Maharajah. Jinder Mahal becoming the new WWE champion. This is huge news for wrestling fans. This is huge news for the wrestling business. This has been one of the most talked about subjects. So naturally, I'm going to talk about it. A couple of things, that I want to get off my chest about this whole situation, to give you a little bit of a preview about what we're going to be going over, is I'm going to give you my thoughts on Jinder, give you my thoughts on his title reign, talk about the booking of the title reign, and then the fan base's reaction and the WWE Universe's reaction and the WWE Superstars reaction and wrestling. Wrestlers around the world, really, basically, with all the reactions that we've had to Jinder becoming champion. So we'll start off here with Jinder. I'm going to be completely honest. For a while, I was never really a big fan of Jinder. I actually liked Jinder when he first debuted and he had the feud with Great Khali. I saw him as like a Middle Eastern version of Ted DiBiase. And I kind of liked the idea. That gimmick kind of worked. It worked better than what Ted DiBiase Jr. did with it, even though I don't think he deserved a gimmick like that. But that's a whole nother podcast that I'll probably never get done. But I like Jinder. I've been a fan of Jinder since he's come back. I never thought he fit in with 3MB. I thought that they kind of threw him in there because they needed a third person. And they're like, oh, well, Jinder's not doing anything. Let's put Jinder in there. I didn't think he really fit in. I did like Jinder in the ring, though. I thought he was a little bit underrated. He's not an indie guy. He's not a guy that's come through like the territories and has all those indie moves and, does all his flips and his dives. It's something that if you didn't see, that was a Facebook Live exclusive last week that I did about the Randy Orton situation. And, that's what you hear with the word dive. Speaking of Randy Orton, he almost killed one of the Singh brothers. That was really cringy to watch. That's all over Facebook and YouTube and stuff. Go take a look to see how Randy Orton almost killed one of the Singh brothers by back suplexing him almost on his top of his head through a table. That was scary. So I liked Jinder in the ring. I thought he was talented. I always thought that, he had an it factor, but I thought the WWE just kind of didn't really, really make the best of him, especially when he first debuted. You can see that towards the end of his WWE run in the 3MB world, he kind of let himself go a little bit. And, look, I'm not going to say that if I was in his position, I wouldn't do the same thing because let's face it, he had no direction. 3MB wasn't going anywhere. They were fun for a little while. Then it just became, fodder, jobbers. People just got the crap kicked out of them. They weren't winning. They weren't, serious. Drew McIntyre looked like his career was going to be ruined by it. Heath Slater, nobody really believed that Heath Slater was, anything good. Jury's still out on that, guys. Sorry for all you Slater fans. Slater heads? Slater maniacs? I don't think his fan base has a name yet. And I think Jinder kind of got lumped in with that. But by the end, I think he kind of let himself go a little bit. I mean, if you're in his position, wouldn't you? I wouldn't put forth the effort. So he left, and he went off, and he got jacked. He came back into the WWE, and he looked like he was cut out of a friggin' stone. And, I give Jinder credit because he came back ready to go. Now, if you caught the episode that I did of the Dave Knows Wrestling podcast, which I posted up on Facebook and on the Cause blog, and it's posted up on the Twitter, we talked a little bit about the Jinder Mahal situation, him getting a championship match, and Dave actually made the point that this was going to be a cookie-cutter championship defense for Randy Orton, which I think a lot of people really thought it was going to be. It was going to be one of those things where Orton was just going to come in, beat the crap out of Jinder, and that was going to be the end of it all. I think a lot of people believe that, but Dave also mentioned that he didn't like the fact that Jinder got this championship match, like a couple of weeks after injuring oh boy, Finn Balor. He gave him a concussion with a forearm. Now, professionally, I believe accidents happen, and I don't think that was something that was done intentional. I think Jinder, Jinder did benefit that the WWE is trying to make it big in India, and I think that maybe that's the reason why Jinder Mahal won the WWE Championship. But you can't discredit a guy who's put in the work. I like Jinder as champion. Do I agree with a lot of people saying that they would be less peeved about this if this would have been a 3-month process where Jinder maybe, ran through a bunch of the top guys on SmackDown and beat them even with outside interference, but made him earn it. He wins the Battle Royal, and then of course he beats Sammy and he beats AJ, and that's all well and good. But wouldn't it have been better if he had a pay-per-view match against Sammy and maybe a pay-per-view match against some other maybe some other middling babyface that he could have won, by nefarious means using the Singh brothers, and then we see, okay, that's his thing. He needs the Singh brothers in order to win. Okay, so it's outside interference. Classic heel booking. He can't win a match clean. And I like that that's where they're going with Jinder. I always, hated hearing wrestling fans going, well, it's kind of BS because no heel ever beat Cena clean. Heels aren't supposed to win matches clean. That's why they're heels. You're supposed to hate them. They're supposed to do crappy things to get over, to get one over on the audience, to get one over on the wrestlers. That's what heels do. So with that being said, I do think that Jinder would have maybe benefited from being been made a little bit more of a top priority on SmackDown after, instead of getting a beer poured on him by Rob Gronkowski and getting elbowed in the face by Mojo Rawley the week before and being beaten in pretty, succinct fashion. Mojo made pretty short work out of him to becoming the number one contender for the championship. It was a little bit weird. So, I think that's where the WWE may have messed up. With that being said, I'm happy that Jinder Mahal is champion. I am. I think that, this is a really good thing for the wrestling business. And, here's the thing that, there's a big meme going around and there's a lot, look, the opinions on this are very poignant. They go one way and they go the other. Here's one way is that there are most of the wrestling universe, guys like Bully Ray, Eric Bischoff, Stone Cold Steve Austin, a lot of these guys who were, major players in the WWE and in the wrestling industry are all praising Jinder Mahal for becoming champion and praising the WWE for putting the belt on Jinder. Fans, though, aren't happy. And I get, where some of them come from because maybe they felt like Jinder didn't earn it. But guess what? He's a heel. And, everybody wants to see, something unpredictable. Nobody could predict that Jinder was going to win the championship. Sure, there were rumors going around, but when Jinder won the title, I literally looked at my TV screen and went, holy crap, I can't believe they put the belt on this guy. That's great. I loved it. And, many people may not have liked it, but I did. I thought it was a great move. I think Jinder is, I think that they need to do stuff like this a little bit more often. Put belts on guys that you don't expect to have belts. I don't care if it's a world title, if it's an intercontinental title, a tag team title, the women's title, the cruiserweight title, my left foot's title, the television title, the now defunct, what was it, NWA, Northwestern Heavyweight Championship. Put these belts on somebody when the wrestling fans don't expect it, because when you expect to see what you're gonna, what you're getting, then all of a sudden you realize that, the WWE's become too predictable. Now we're in a position where the WWE isn't predictable anymore. The WWE has stopped being, this predictable mess. It's become one of those situations where the WWE can, keep you on your toes. I think we've gotten to a point where we've expected so much from the WWE, and we're expected, as fans, we expect to predict everything that goes on with the WWE, and we're so used to being able to do that guess what we, look what we get. We get this, terrible, fan base cursing everybody out because, oh, by the way, Jinder Mahal, is never going to win the championship. Why are they giving him a shot? Oh, wait, he won? Oh, well, why did Jinder Mahal get the world championship? I didn't see that coming. It's either you like it or you don't. But if you don't like it, don't complain about the WWE not doing stuff that doesn't, that's out of their realm and doesn't, that doesn't, make it the show predictable. I couldn't get those words out of my mouth. So, with that being said, I like this. I'm looking forward to a Jinder Mahal title run. I really am. I think that this is going to be huge for Jinder. I think this is going to be huge for the WWE. I think it's going to be a great success all around. A couple more things to go over. Anthem and the Matt Hardy situation has been a pretty big deal. Anthem has, turned around and, said that WWE is involved in this lawsuit against Anthem for the, for the Broken Hardys gimmick. I think we've gotten to a point now where the Broken Hardys gimmick does need to debut in WWE. I would love to see it, but if the WWE doesn't want to do it because they don't want to get meddling into the middle of legal matters, then you know what? Maybe it's not the right move. I think that the Rebby Hardy is kind of just revving people up and making everybody believe that this is Anthem's fault, and maybe it's not. Be that as it may, I think the Hardys need some sort of a jolt right now because I think they're getting stale really quick. It was great to see a nostalgia act, but there's just not enough personality there to make Matt and Jeff this big likable team like they used to be. Other than that, you guys still keep booing Roman Reigns and it still keeps pissing me off. So I want to mention that in almost every podcast, just to be a jerk, because I know everybody hates him and I like him. So I think I should just do that every podcast. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it right now. The WWE's been kind of a little bit, it's been a little bit lackluster. So what I'd like to do is, go back and watch some old matches that make me feel good about myself, that make me, that make me, or even old shows that make me, feel a little nostalgic. Here's a show that wasn't great. The match quality wasn't that great, but it's interesting to see. The WWE uploaded all of the old NXT episodes, and I watched the first NXT episode that was that the WWE had put on when they rebranded as NXT. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great, and it was interesting to see. The opening match was the debuting Bo Dallas against Rick Victor, who would soon become Victor in the Ascension. The Ascension actually wrestled, but it was TNA's Bram and Connor as the Ascension at that point. The main event was Michael McGillicuddy versus Tyson Kidd, which was actually a really solid match. Yes, that's right. It was before it was Curtis Axel and was Michael McGillicuddy. So go back and take a look at that. That's, you guys are all big NXT fans. I know you are. Everybody who, is a mark and listens to wrestling shows are big NXT fans, including myself. I love NXT. It's my, one of my favorite, probably my favorite product on, out there right now. I love the way NXT's booked. It's old school. It's, it's great. I love NXT. So, see its origins. It's interesting. Wasn't the greatest show in the world, but it was interesting to see where they got their start. So that's my pick, the first episode of NXT that's on the WWE Network. Until then, I'm Albert Albanese. Again, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Slam Sessions. On Twitter, it's at The Slam Sessions. Like, subscribe, share, spread the word, get it around. Let's get this, a little bit popular, and you can feel like you were a part of something. You were a part of something. You did this. Not just me, you guys, because I do this for you. Until next time, stay cool, guys, and this has been The Slam Sessions.
Thanks for listening to The Slam Sessions. Find us on Twitter at The Slam Sessions. We'll see you next time.